Vikings. Let's move on to some guys who came in to Minnesota, who are going to be starting up front in front of JJ McCarthy. It's looking like he's going to be your starting guy this year. So both Colts players, you guys went after Colts offensive linemen. Understandably so. They've had a pretty great offensive line the last few years. First guy we're going to talk about, Will Fries, 5-year, $88 million contract. Looks like it's going to be effectively 2 years worth of locked in cap hits though. So just full transparency on that contract. How important is a Will Fries signing in your opinion with JJ McCarthy, essentially going into his rookie year?
Now, Will Fries was the guy Vikings fans wanted all offseason. Like when free agency hit, it was Trey Smith, obviously he got franchised. He was taken out. But Will Fries instantly became that number one guard for the Vikings fans that they wanted to sign. I mean, the talking about Cam Bynum, he better live up to that price tag. Well, Will Fries better live up to the price tag too. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of questions with Will Fries, but we're ecstatic. We are ecstatic. We got a young guard that before his injury was showing to be one of the best guards in the league. And JJ McCarthy is a big part of why we revamped that interior offensive line. The interior offensive line for the Vikings the last few years has been gross. We're set at tackle with Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw, but once you get into the inside, Bradbury now is gone. He's a Patriot. But the right guard was Ed Ingram and Dalton Reisner, and they were having a real tough go at it. And Sam Darnold, dude, was sacked like 48 times last year, and a big part of that was because of that. So we knew they were going to spend a lot of money. Vikings, I mean, the media is saying like Will Fries was their number one target the entire time. They were probably going to pay the guy whatever the hell he wanted. Like it got to that point. Like interior offensive line was so bad, and he was the guy. Like there's Tevin Jenkins out there. There's the old timers, the Brandon Scherfs. Zeitler now is a Titan, but Will Fries was the guy. And you know what? He better show up, man. A lot of pressure on Will Fries, but we're excited. We are very, very excited to have him there. Like I said, before that injury, the dude was just killing it. Former like 6th rounder just comes in. I know he's coming off the injury. That'll be a question mark, but it had to be done. Like they probably just handed him a blank check.
Yeah, I mean, Will Fries, he's a guy I kind of wanted the Bengals to go after, kind of wanted the Colts to keep as my two teams, but also like you mentioned, there's a lot of risk with this. This is arguably the biggest risk versus reward signing of all of free agency. You mentioned you're nervous. Is the leg injury? I believe it was a broken tibia. Is that a concern for you?
No, it's more so. I mean, obviously it's a little bit concerned, but I'm not worried about that. It's more of the small sample size of playing at such a high level. With Fries, I know he's been a starter for I think 3 years or so, but this last year before he got injured is where all of a sudden he was just at that. I mean, it was only 5 games, but it's the small sample size. I'm not worried that he's not going to be an improvement. Like the bar is so low, he's going to be an improvement. But again, I keep saying price tag. He better be damn good. And the other guy we're going to talk about, I think, is going to help that as well. And he's got Brian O'Neill to the other side of him.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that small sample size, and I was kind of going to get into that here a little bit. I mean, 5 games looks phenomenal. I mean, his PFF grades are phenomenal. His regular stats are normal. Everything looks great at 2024 for that season. But you go back to 2023 or even before that, he's had some struggles as a pass blocker. He's always been a pretty good run blocker. But I think the Vikings are looking for a strong pass blocker, especially with a young quarterback, obviously with Addison and Jefferson. You guys have that receiver duo. Is that concerning to you, or do you think that he'll be okay?
No, I mean, it's definitely a concern. Like I said, the bar is so low, it's still going to be an improvement. But yeah. you said exactly kind of my worries as far as looking back at the previous years. It'll be a concern. Brian O'Neill helping. I do think the Vikings are going to run the ball a lot more than they have in the past with JJ McCarthy. They made that trade for Jordan Mason, bringing Aaron Jones back. Those are couple of running backs that can get some yards. So I think they're going to be relying pretty heavily on the run game. But yeah, I mean, Will Fries, you better hold his own in that pass game, man. JJ McCarthy is the future. We can't have him on his back.
Yeah. I don't like seeing young quarterbacks setting records for getting sacked. I've seen that too many times in my young lifetime. But you kind of alluded to it. We're just gonna go right into him. You guys also signed Ryan Kelly, the former center for the Indianapolis Colts. So, what's the importance of having a guard and a center who have already had a history of working together?
I mean, the Colts have had a beautiful offensive line. Why not bring two of them who know each other? I'll say that the Kelly one came out of nowhere. Like that, all of a sudden, they were like, "What, you signed Ryan Kelly? Like, what the hell? He was never even rumored around it." The Vikings have had Garrett Bradbury since 2019, and they love Bradbury, so nobody expected the Vikings to move on from Bradbury. So when that move came down, it was just like a little bit of shell shock. And talk about like taking a risk. I mean, he's a 2-year, $18 million, 9 guaranteed, but 31 years old, injuries. Like both these guys are very, very risky. I love the fact that they've played together, to answer your question. Like that can only help. Only help.
What I guess, I mean, you already said it. They moved on from Garrett Bradbury, a former first round pick. Obviously younger, or is no, excuse me, Kelly's younger. But why would you move on from him already? Like he looked like Bradbury was playing well from the outside. Is age that major difference?
No, he just, man, he was such a liability as a pass blocker. I mean, he was one of those smaller athletic centers. I think he got a little more. I mean, Vikings fans have been done with Bradbury for years. And Bradbury, I said this before, like he's almost one of the best busts you can have. Like the Vikings actually re-signed him after his contract. I mean, they extended him, and then he came in and he just couldn't get it done. And there's a lot of question marks. Was it because of the guards that were next to him? Is he just not that great? He goes to the Patriots. I think he'll be just fine. Bradbury is just a average to maybe a little bit below average center. So
Okay.
it was surprising they moved on from him just because how much love the coaching staff and GM has said towards him. But Ryan Kelly, like even though how big of a risk he is, we're still way more happier to take that risk than do another season with Garrett Bradbury. And it comes back to JJ McCarthy. Like they have to get different guys, different bodies up there, and they did it. And they took some swings.
It's a new face in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Kelly looks like he doesn't look very nice. I hope he plays not nice because it's hilarious watching this dude. It's like Bradbury's this kind of smaller center, and Ryan Kelly comes in and I'm like, dude, this guy looks like he can bust some heads.
Yeah. Yeah, he even in his like pick, there's players are usually smiling. He's got a grimace. And I want to recorrect myself. I don't know why I second guessed myself. Ryan Kelly is 2 years older than Garrett Bradbury. So
yeah, Bradbury, when he came out of the draft, he was old. I want to say he was 24, 25 maybe when he came out.
Yeah, Bradbury is 29 now. Ryan Kelly is 31. So a little bit older, but like you said, maybe a meaner playing style from Ryan Kelly, a little bigger body, and honestly, just change of scenery may just help him as well. But those injuries stack up. That's like it seems like every year, and this was what a lot of Colts fans were saying when I was looking at what their thoughts on for Ryan Kelly were. It was Ryan Kelly is great when healthy. And Ryan Kelly has missed 10 games the last 2 seasons compared to Bradbury, who missed 3 games the last 2 seasons. So where are we on that? You've signed 2 guys from the Colts who are great when they play. So
yeah, that's the big question. And the injuries for Ryan Kelly, I mean, you look at it, it's a knee injury, it's a neck injury, it's like stuff. It's like, oh, it's not like he sprained his ankle. These are some big boy injuries. So when we signed him, I looked, and a lot of Colts fans were talking about that. Ryan Kelly's great. He's one of the top, when he's out there, he's one of the top centers in the league. But it's when he's out there. And again, with Will Fries, the same thing. Like these are 2 big swings. With the Ryan Kelly, if it doesn't work out, the $9 million guaranteed is what it is, and they'll move on from him from a year. But as Vikings fans, we got high expectations, man. We need him healthy. We're asking for the moon, but we need him out there for 17 games. We got him. It's all about McCarthy, year 1, confidence, keep him upright, And if we got to move on after year one, that's fine. But we're just hoping for at least one good year out of Kelly.
I mean, we're mentioning McCarthy. We're wanting to protect McCarthy. I get it. I'm with you. I'm all for protecting JJ McCarthy. But you've signed 2 offensive linemen who are very good, but they're also stronger in the run game than they are in the passing game. What does that tell you about what you're looking at with this offense?
I think we're going to look at an offense where they're running the hell out of the ball. Like I said, with Jordan Mason coming in, they didn't trade for him just to be a nice little piece. He's going to be getting some tough yards, and that's what Mason does. And Aaron Jones as well. He had the most carries he's had in his entire career last year. Last year, Sam Darnold, I mean, he was throwing that thing a ton. He was dropping back a ton, but he's also getting sacked a ton. And I think they learned a lot from that, where they can't do that to a rookie quarterback who didn't play last year. So I expect him to run the ball, but Kevin O'Connell, he just can't help himself either. That dude loves to pass the ball. And when you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, you can't just run the ball every time. Right. So there'll be some bumps along the road.
Well, Kevin O'Connell's a former quarterback. He's gotta get his boys some spotlight.
Oh yeah.
That was all the questions I had for you. You did phenomenal. I learned a lot here about the Vikings opinion. Anything else you want to say before we head out here?
No, I mean, just like Colts fans, I mean, Vikings fans, we're hoping next year is our year, baby. We got some pieces to build on. Colts did have some good pickups in free agency as well. So it's gonna be a fun next month or so. Come draft time, talking a ton of draft. This is the time of year to get excited about what could be. And it's always great to talk football. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you for doing this. So with that, I'm going to head into my little end of spiel here and go subscribe to the Onebar and Lupagus Show. Let's get them to 15,000. They just hit 14,000. Like, was that 2 weeks ago or something I saw?
Last week. Free agency's been fun. It's bringing a lot of viewers on. So
okay, good. Yeah, let's get them to 15,000 by draft. Let's get us to 1,000 by draft. I'm setting the bar a little bit lower.
Hell yeah.
We're at 539 right now, so it's doable.
We're gonna send our guys over.
I appreciate that. Sure. I appreciate that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by No Buts About It. Chus and I appreciate it so much. We're trying to turn this into a full-time gig. If you want to support us, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.